Hey, if I'm uncircumcised, I might be banned from certain grocery stores. That's good to know. Why doesn't CBC open with that? Because I don't want this video to be censored or shadow banned by big tech, I'm going to be using code words because Canadians need to see this. Health ministers in New Brunswick have just given essential businesses like grocery stores the option to starve uncircumcised Canadians. I'm Handsome Greg, and this is Canada's actual news. The headline from CBC read, New Brunswick, Foreskin 19 Roundup. Winter plan goes into effect Saturday night. 97 new cases. What does that headline tell us? Absolutely nothing. The actual news in New Brunswick is that essential services and businesses, including grocery stores, have the option to demand proof of circumcision for all patrons. Now, before we go anywhere, let's show a clip of Viva Fry, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, saying this exact thing would happen 3.5 months ago.
I'm telling you now, and I'm predicting it because it's only logical. It is only a matter of time before this passport applies to essential services as well.
It's really frustrating when smart Canadian citizens will predict the future and then will be nothing but ignored, shamed, and ridiculed by the political class and the mainstream media. And this is exactly what's happened to Randy Hillier way back in October 2020 when Randy was asking questions about these foreskin isolation camps.
Where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps?
They laughed in Randy's face in the Ontario legislature. And wouldn't you know it, in this past week, this clip came out from Miss Patty Haydu.
To operate isolation sites in regions such as Toronto, Peel, York, and Durham. Now, these rooms are going to be of great use for people that contract
Foreskin 19
and want to protect the members of their household.
Back in October 2020, when MPP Randy Hillier brought this up, do you really think people were ready to hear that if you get sick, you might get dragged away from your family to a foreskin containment center? I don't think so. I don't think Canadians were ready for that. But now it seems with all the hysteria and the omni-channel variants and inflation, people are just so terrified or brainwashed to confront what's happening in our country. And when it comes to consistency and saying one thing or doing another or predicting the future, we have a leader in our country who can just lie to our faces and completely change their mind 3 months later with no consequences.
We're not a country that makes
circumcision
mandatory, for example. That's why, as a government, we are unequivocal. If you want to get on a plane or a train, you're going to need to be
circumcised. And there's been no accountability coming from our Canadian news media or the official opposition, the Conservative Party. They have yet to call Trudeau out on this obvious flip-flop on the most important issue of our time. But I digress. Back to New Brunswick giving grocery stores the option to ban and starve the uncircumcised. I'm about to say the N-word. Normies. Let's imagine what the average Canadian normie might say about this to defend our health ministers here.
They can still order their groceries online from Voila. Don't you know they can just get takeout?
What is wrong with these people? Why are they so quick to defend these brand new rules that just started last week? This response just goes to show how self-centered these people are who think like this. They're obviously in the middle class or above, by the way. So for the Canadian normie watching, let me school you on the topic. Takeout's already expensive, okay? With inflation, it's a nightmare. And on top of that, if you didn't know, New Brunswick is the second poorest province in Canada. Their median income is the lowest amongst the provinces. They have high unemployment rates and their winters are brutal. So on top of that, we're going to create more obstacles and challenges for the uncircumcised Canadians. And when it comes to ordering your groceries online, a lot of people don't understand this. 6% of the Canadian population don't even have home internet. That's 2.28 million Canadians across the country, and in New Brunswick, 46,000 people.
Well, someone should just go over to their home and set up their internet so then they can order groceries.
I mean, do these people hear themselves? If this is someone like you, you're really not using your imagination, or you're incredibly sheltered. Because more likely, there's a widowed grandmother who's taking public transit to go to the grocery store and then being stopped and said, hey, show me your papers. And she'll have no idea what's going on. And it'll be some high school or 20-something saying, sorry, ma'am, just following orders. I'm just doing my job, ma'am. You can't have these fresh green apples or honey lemon tea today. Sorry. You don't have your papers. You need to get takeout from Tim Hortons down the street. Yeah, I know it's -20 out here, but
this is for your health and safety, Grandma.
Health and safety? Really? Pretty sure the death rate of starvation is 100%. Not to mention all of the social chaos this will cause. It's like taking the already toxic division between the circumcised and the uncircumcised and putting literal food to survive as the stakes on the table. And once again, these average Canadians might say,
Oh, you're talking about starvation. That's really extreme, bro.
look up Holodomor.
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 Holodomor, Ukraine.
Look it up. Look up what that was and that negligence, and realize these atrocities that happened in history, they didn't just happen overnight, folks. They happened over the course of 2 to 4 years. And every time it was just 2 more weeks. Just, hey, we're going to change the rules just a little bit, till you don't even recognize your country anymore and people are starving in the streets. And it's worth mentioning, Canada, if we are in the future killing and eating each other alive, you can bet your ass Justin Trudeau will be on TV saying, we're working hard for you, Canada. Like everything is fine. And for those wondering how it could have gotten to this point, it's because of our broken news media here in Canada. Our major media outlets are now subsidized and funded by the state or by the Canadian government, so they have an incentive, a financial incentive, to keep their jobs and to increase their salaries to make the government look good. During this foreskin lockdown stuff, there's a joke I make to my friends, which is, I don't watch the news, so I don't know what my rights are today. And if you look at this article about New Brunswick, let's read the headline again. That doesn't tell me anything. And it's only when I actually read the article do I find out, hey, if I'm uncircumcised, I might be banned from certain grocery stores. That's good to know. Why doesn't CBC open with that? Why aren't they telling us that off the bat? And the reason the CBC isn't being forthright about the actual news happening in New Brunswick is because they don't want people to question it. They don't want people to even know what's happening. They just want to scurry it along and keep moving the line further and further and further. That's exactly what happened in the 2021 election, where there was no debate on mandates. There was no debate on mandates. Thanks a lot for really standing up for us. But I wanted to look at this article and just let you know how creepy aspects of it are. So I'm not even going to comment on the appearance of the health ministers and the chief medical officer. Moving on. I mean, look at this image in the article. What is this really telling us here? If you really want to get a perception of what's going on, imagine we're all cattle. We're all cows. And they all have us sectioned off into zones. Hey, this is how many healthy cattle we have. This is how many unhealthy cattle we have. This is how many cattle died. It really starts to make a lot more sense if you look at it through this lens. Even if you just scroll past it, you see a bunch of numbers, it gets you kind of anxious. But if you actually read it, look what it says. 4 people, 19 or under. A person, 20 to 29. 2 people, a person. Why do they write it like this? It's almost as if they want to stretch out any amount of cases to make it seem like it's as big as possible. It's so awful. So not only do we have New Brunswick health ministers giving essential businesses the option to ban uncircumcised Canadians from even getting their groceries, we have the CBC covering it up and not showing how the line is being pushed and pushed and pushed further and further every single day. And that's Canada's actual news. I'm Handsome Greg. Share this video if you found it helpful and informative, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I'm doing daily uploads for this month of December because it's Don't Be Demoralized December. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.